And then I would like to welcome Shwan Lamei from Emulate Energy in Sweden. He's the co-founder and CEO. And he says here, join us for an enlightening presentation as we delve into the valuable lessons from Scandinavia on how to conquer challenges and capitalize on opportunities in rapid electrification and seamless renewable integration. Shwan is, hopefully I'll pronounce your name right, he's the CEO. He will draw from first-hand experience operating in Sweden, a country boasting the highest electrification and renewable integration rate in the world. There are a few challenges to that one, but take it from here, Shwan.
All right, cool. Thank you, Hans. I'm not able to start my video, but should I do it without camera?
You should be able to do it shortly.
All right, let me try again. But I'll start in the meantime. So firstly, thank you very much for providing me and Emulate with this opportunity. I think we have a great set of speakers, and I really look forward to learning. So we are a startup in the energy space. We're a software company, and our customers typically are utility companies in regions with high electrification rate and high rates of renewables, where the utility companies have started imposing different types of cost-reflective tariffs on the consumers. Cost-reflective tariffs, I mean, in US is typically called dynamic pricing. It could be demand charges, or it could also be time of use rates. So I'm just going to share a few words about what we have experienced so far in Sweden, and we actually also gotten our a little foothold into the US market. So I'm just
Shwan, excuse me, we can see you now, but try to share screen. Yeah, it's coming on now. Thank you.
It's working?
Yes.
All right, cool. So we started our journey in the Nordics because it's simply a highly electrified market. But as I mentioned, we also gotten a foothold here in the US. I'm actually based out of Boston myself. I've been living in the US for quite a few years, but our company is headquartered in my home city, a small university city called Lund in southern Sweden. The core technology is a direct spin-off from MIT postdoc. And today we are operating across Europe and US. We have 6 of the 10 largest utility companies in Sweden, and we just signed contracts with 5 US utilities, and we're going to enter this market as well. Hans alluded very early on in the beginning that we've been seeing a rapid increase of renewables in the grid in Sweden. That's particularly true for Sweden, but if you look at Europe in general, we've been seeing similar trends. 20 years ago, almost 0% of the energy mix was from wind and solar. Today, it's a little bit more than a fifth, actually, and that's wind and solar. And this is just a start. This is gonna continue, and it's gonna accelerate during the coming decade. At the same time, we've been seeing a ton of electric vehicles and heat pumps being connected to the grid. So in the end, you end up with a higher share of intermittent energy resources like wind and solar, and a ton of new load that gets connected to the grid. And this has led to escalating prices and very high volatility on the electricity markets. Again, I'm talking about Sweden, but you will see this across Europe today. So if you look at the spot prices in 2020, they were at 0.3 SEK per kilowatt hours. In 2022, it was at 1.6. And on the right-hand side, you see graphs from just about a month ago in Sweden, where you see the spot prices over a day, where it went from being negative to up to 2.25. Extreme volatility that we really haven't seen before. And this is that I mentioned just the beginning. If you look at the projections for number of distributed energy resources, which is essentially EVs, solar panels, charging stations, batteries behind the meter, and heat pumps, we are right at the brink of an explosion during the coming 10 years. So the trends we'll be seeing will just accelerate. And what we've been seeing in Sweden is rapid introduction by the utility companies of what's called cost-reflective tariffs. So again, as I mentioned before, time of use rates, real-time pricing, and demand charges. When this happens, it triggers the need for new types of services for the end users. If you take an EV as an example, when you have volatility at this rate and when end users are exposed to real-time pricing on the electricity markets, it's not enough to simply manually schedule your EV charging. If you want to reap the full benefits of savings, you're going to need to do this dynamically and do this in a much more advanced manner. So what this graph shows here is an electric vehicle that gets plugged in over 3 nights. The black line shows the spot prices, and the green shows how we schedule the EV charging to sort of occur. And it's very dynamic, and it's you reap twice as much saving compared to just scheduling it as it's been done historically. You see very similar sort of patterns when it comes to heating. With heating, you can save about 20-25% by dynamic spot price optimization. With an EV, it's about 50%. But this is just the start. This is going to continue to get more complex. If you look at Sweden as an example again, the fact that the consumers are exposed to real-time prices on the market is the first step. What we're seeing is that the distribution system operators, so the grid operators who bring the lines into the different homes, are imposing demand charges on the consumers. They're doing that because the load that gets connected to all the new EVs and all the new heat pumps that get connected to the grid will mean billion-dollar investments for them to rev up the grid to be able to cope with all this new capacity. And if they impose sort of limits on how much your instantaneous energy consumption can be, it will decrease their investment needs, but it's going to mean a cost for the end user to optimize against. And here you see 3 sort of patterns on how the optimization changes when you go from a low demand charge scenario to a higher demand charge scenario and to very high demand charge scenario. What I want to say with all of this is that the future optimization behind the meter of consumers is going to become more and more complex as new types of tariffs are rolled out. I mentioned early on, obviously, that we're a startup based out of Sweden, and Sweden is at the cutting edge of the energy transition. If you look at the electrification rate, and if you look at renewables capacity added per capita, the Nordic countries are topping the list. It's not only Sweden, it's Norway is there, Denmark is there, Iceland is there, Finland is there. So when you look at, for example, EV penetration as a share of new cars sold, the first 5 countries are Scandinavian. The same thing applies when you look at renewables added per capita right after Germany. And Germany is because of what happened in Fukushima in 2012 when they started phasing out the nuclear aggressively. In this market, what we're seeing is that the demands and the requests put on the energy companies is rapidly shifting. So the energy consumers are starting to expect their utility companies to provide energy optimization services. And it's pretty simple, is that we at Emulate, we have an integration point into the mobile application of the utility company. And through that integration, the end user or the consumer will be able to enroll their electric vehicle, charging station, batteries, solar panel, heat pump, everything that they have behind their meter. And then we will make sure to optimize the consumption on their behalf. So it goes all through the utility company itself. But there's one more thing. It's not only that you as an end user can save money in this new energy landscape. It's also a great opportunity to start making money. We're seeing that the future energy consumer can take an active role in stabilizing the grid. So when you charge your electric vehicle, if you can turn it off for a few seconds here and there, that can actually contribute to stabilizing the grid and accelerate the energy transition. And you can actually get compensated for that for the energy markets. And this is another step that the utility companies are moving in. So to sort of conclude, we think that your future energy consumer will have a totally different relationship with how you buy electricity. I think today and historically, electricity has been a low engagement product. Nobody really thanked ever thanked the utility company for providing them more or better electricity than they requested. This is a industry that's been very risk averse. They could only lose if they didn't provide the energy needed. But the future electricity consumer, I think, will be not only buying electricity, but it would also be producing electricity. There will be something called prosumers, and they can, aside from saving money by being more smarter, they can also generate a lot of revenue off of their asset on the electricity markets. So we think that in the future, electricity will be cool. Buying electricity and selling electricity will be cool. And that's what we're hoping to sort of help the utility companies with in this journey. All right, Hans, I think I was asked to have 20-minute maximum. I don't know how I did from a timing perspective, but I hope I didn't break it. But if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Do we have any questions for Shwan? It was an excellent presentation as usual, and you have a standing invitation to come out here in California and talk more to. We have a lot of contacts with utilities and manufacturers and all kinds of people. So we think it's a long way from Boston to San Diego or Los Angeles, but
I'm always looking for excuses to come to California, Hans.
Okay. All right. Sounds very good. And again, a great thank you to you, Shwan. Maybe there will come questions later. I don't know if you can stay on for another hour or so. But
Absolutely.
You can close your camera now.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yes.